So we've got a bit of a different podcast this time. You'll first notice that I'm outnumbered. I've got 3 guests to 1, but with good reason. We have members of the now famous group Ibex, the group that put the translation together for the very well-known Sacred and Terrible Air by Robert Kurvitz, the book now widely loved by Disco Elysium fans across the world. And we'll talk a lot about that book, its relationship with Disco Elysium, and all the stuff in between. So, without further ado, let's get a quick introduction to those 3 members of Group Ibex. Who wants to go first? This is where I see the leader amongst you all. Who wants to introduce themselves first?
I'm Eva, Laughing Pineapple, and I consider myself the group's janitor, basically. I helped put the team together a bit, and got the physical copy, which is right here.
Oh, look.
Hi.
Amazing.
Scanned it, got it digitalized and everything, and have been working on editing and catching references and just overall trying to get the project moving along. So
thank you very much. Who's next?
I'll go. My name is Elisa, but I'm usually called KitKat, or that's my gamer tag. So if any of my gamer friends are listening, then hi. So for Sacred and Terrible Air, I guess I'm the cultural connection and the one person who has done most of the actual translation from Estonian to English.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, yeah, I used to work in esports. Now I'm sort of taking a break from all of that, trying to figure out life, and Sacred and Terrible Air was also a part of it, translating it and finding this community.
Nice. And finally, last but not least.
Well, Maria here. I'm not really a part of the Ibex team. I'm a bit of a Johnny come lately here. I have made my own translation.
Mm-hmm.
I translated Sacred and Terrible Air into Russian, and our paths crossed after both of our translations were published.
Nice.
So what I did was some proofreading, trivia hunting, some language correction.
Okay, good stuff.
Here, not here with us, but here with us in spirit is Alex, the other founder of Group Ibex, who says hi, and yeah.
Hi, Alex.
We wouldn't be here without Alex. Hi, Alex.
Good shout out. Okay, so thank you very much for those introductions. It's interesting. We've got quite a varied spectrum of talents across the translation community here. So I want to go right back to the start, really. How did the group form? How did the task come about to do a worthwhile translation of? Well, does someone want to give me the correct pronunciation of the Estonian title? Because I've never actually... Yeah, go on. Kat, is that your job?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
It's saying, there's no way I can repeat that
No.
without sounding like a complete idiot. Well, thank you. So, Sacred and Terrible Air, otherwise known as the thing that Kat just said. Yeah, how did it all come about? How did you guys come together to form this and get us a nice translation?
So, okay, so Alex remembers it better than I do, so we'll just read what he wrote. And So Alex says, I went online and bought the book probably the same day I learned about its existence, on Robert's Wikipedia page maybe. I was starving for more Elysium content and lore, and I thought it would be a fun challenge to see how much I could read and understand as a Finnish speaker. And if nothing else, it would be a fundamental to own. I was slowly brute forcing my way through the book, left hand holding the book, right hand Google translating unfamiliar words on my phone, when I spotted Eva in the official Discord server planning to do the same thing. We messaged back and forth a bit about our plans regarding the book and about the translation of the first 3 chapters that existed at the time. This was August 2022. I finished the book not long after that. I desperately wanted to be in on anything having to do with the book, so I pretty quickly decided to start a small book club server together with Eva to discuss it and unite those interested. The main purpose of the server was for discussion, but a few of us who felt up to the task started working on a document with a rough translation of the work. In my view, this was purely something we did for our own enjoyment. I don't think any one of us knew how far we'd get or if we'd ever finish it. It was just our way of getting through the book together. We were driven by passion and curiosity about the book's content. So for my part was that at the time there was just like one Goodreads page, one Goodreads review saying, okay, this book is great, the nukes in it, but it's about so much more, and I'm not gonna spoil anything. You have to read it for yourself. And it was like, thank you. How? Because I tried to get a physical copy of the book, but I couldn't find it anywhere, like eBay or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when someone came on the official server saying, hey, there's this Estonian bookstore that still has like a dozen copies and ships internationally, it was like, okay, I am going to do this. And I didn't think we'd be anywhere near serious about it. Like, it was just me and 2 dear friends who agreed to go through the mechanical steps of digitalizing the book, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and just try to get a machine translation of the plot, like try to figure out what's in it, even in a very rough way. But then, yeah, the project sort of grew. There were Finnish speakers first who kind of sort of squinted at the text and could maybe follow what was going on. And then when KitKat came on board, that's when it became like a fun translation, you know? But yeah, it didn't start out with, okay, we're gonna be a fun translation group.
It's quite a nice little story, and thank you to Alex for including their version of events as well. It's quite nice that it.
Yeah.
I love the image of book in one hand, phone in the other, just trying to translate. It's really, really funny. So, Kat, does that mean are you Estonian born, Kat? Is that right? Or that's okay. It's all making sense now. Okay, so I guess my question here is like, well, first of all, how many was it in the end that actually contributed or played a role in translating in the book? Because it sounds like if it started like 1, 2, 3, and it sounds like it grew quite big. How big was it in the end?
I think I would say it's maybe 3 to 5 people, but every now and then there was other people also reading or proofreading or just asking about stuff. So to actually figure out what something is. So I'd say it is a community project, and it's not just like the core group that makes it possible.
Yeah.
Like there's always this 5, 6 people who are more taking care of, say, pushing updates or whatever, but it's an open group. Like the important thing is that it's an open group. The moment someone swans in going, hey, you know what, this is a Kant reference, this is a Shakespeare reference, and like that's geranium's contributions too, like lots of figuring out where they got something else. Oh, this was actually translated by Marga on blog, like unrelated to Elysium. So we can use this English translation, which is closer to what they had in mind, and so on. And that's one.
So is this primarily kind of organised through Discord, I guess, and places like that, and just that constant communication online and putting it together piece by piece? I mean, it's quite impressive that. So when I asked for the group number, okay, I take that there's like a community effort here, and you can't really pin down, because once you grow something like that, there's contributions from all over. But for the core group to be kind of between 3 and 5 people is actually quite astonishing to me. And I don't know. I know that you folks will be very humble about what you've achieved, but it's arguable that the Ibex translation, well, it is. I don't see anybody recommend any other version. It is the definitive translation for the book. And I just wonder, how do you reflect on that and what you actually put together here? Because it's quite impressive.
Yeah, for me, like, I wanted to read the book. I'm very happy I got to read the book. As my friend who worked on on checking the optical character recognition, which was so boring because we checked each line word by word in Estonian without understanding a single word, just to make sure we had the correct text digitalized. And she was like, okay, good thing we like the book, because if not, that would have been awkward. But yeah, it's for me personally, it was effort well spent.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got this result, and we share the result, of course. Like,
okay, fascinating. I'm interested then, as something that is constantly evolving. Go on, you must have like a horrible memory or a bad story about a part of the book that really drove you nuts, or still to this day drives you nuts trying to translate. So I'm just curious what some of the biggest challenges have been for all of you in doing this task.
Chapter 13.
It was part 13 and 5.
Always.
Chapter 13 and 5, is that? Yeah. So let me just go to Laughing Pinecone's post on Reddit so I can quick reference which. So chapter 5 is Zaun, which is well, we'll get to that. It's down, and then what was it? 13, which is it supposed to be matrimony?
Yes.
Is it a play on word, matrimony? Yes.
It is.
Is that the chemical romance thing happening?
Chemical wedding, perhaps.
That's it. Yeah, the chemical wedding, whatever it is. Yeah. Okay.
It's but it's more like okay, Kit Kat, correct me if I'm wrong. That it's a more convoluted pun in Estonian, because you have a marriage of matter, but the word for matter also means drug. It's slang for drugs or something. So and it's a made up word.
Right.
So we chose to keep the matter part of these untranslatable word, because we didn't have anything with both options, and keep the pun, keep the wordplay. Because in context, it's a drug. So yeah, there was like greatest thread in the history of the forums, locked by moderator after 1,000 whatever pages for that title. It was Alex's idea, I think. And yeah, eventually we thought in context, it's a drug. Like when it's introduced in the text, Ziggy says, okay, this is a drug. It's called matrimony. And so, yeah, of course, it's chemical. Of course, it's a drug. That's already in context. So we decided to keep the matter part, because it leads to a sort of holistic feeling of communion with the world. So we thought that was the biggest meaning to convey.
And what was it that was a particular? Was it just that word in particular that was a challenge as part of chapter 13, or was there more to it? No, there's a shake of the head from Geranium.
I think it was describing a trip
Of course.
without experiencing it.
Yeah.
Like trying to understand what is going on there.
Yeah. Is this the chapter that had the sorry, Kat, I was just going to quickly ask, is this the chapter with the strange imagery about childbirth? Is it this one? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was on the right page. Pun intended. Sorry, Kat, go on.
So I said chapter 13 because it is the longest one, and you have this drug stuff going on and this birth giving, and I think it jumps back and forth as well quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's like a black hole in my head. I can't remember like ever translating that, but when I read through it, I'm like, okay, yeah, this happened in this chapter.
Just out of interest, Kat.
I think there's. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask quickly, as a native Estonian, does the book read like well in Estonian, or does it still have some of the weird jank? Because if there's jankiness to it, and there's a lot of back and forth. Well, put it this way, I think Robert's writing was absolutely suited to video games and dungeon mastery over writing a novel. So I'm just curious how it reads in Estonian. Is it any better or easier?
It reads better in Estonian just because the language functions a bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you can't always have, because one of the things we also wanted to maintain is the prose and as much of the language as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't want to do like our own interpretation, but rather like a one-on-one translation for understanding.
Yeah.
So this is also why some of the translations just might look weird.
Okay.
There's also a couple of places that we're fixing in the next update.
Okay.
Yeah, we did have a native English speaker go through it for flow and prose, and trying to get a clearer, more musical, maybe English version of especially certain descriptive paragraphs and whatnot. But yeah, in general, I also think that as a fun translation, we are not exactly working under the same parameters as a hypothetical official translation. Is they have to provide, like in general for me, they have to provide a text that stands on its own. We are in a closer relationship with the source text. Like they would have to sort out a few things that we can just footnote, for example, because I think that fans of Elysium reading a fan translation might be interested in like all the cultural background and whatnot. That it would be not the thing to do in an official translation, but for us, it's good to be able to share all the research and everything. And back to your previous question, I think there's also a lot of passages that are maybe not impacted by our understanding. Like, I don't know, this text is dense. It's really dense, like anvil to the foot kind of dense. And there could be a world hiding in any paragraph. Like it turned out that there's weird stories being hinted at everywhere. So lots of paragraphs, maybe it doesn't change anything verbally if we understand what's going on or not, but it kind of does. Like if we're really puzzled by what's going on, for example, in the Ismail conversation between Khan and Ambartsumian's secretary in the latter chapters. Like, okay, the secretary is asking for a password, and Ken is doing what? Like, is he not getting the password? Is he getting the password in a way that I don't know? At any rate, it's Kent quote, like it's referencing Kent lyrics, so there's that. But maybe it won't change anything in how we translated it, but I'm still not sure what's going on. So there's that.
Yeah. And by the way, speaking of the official translation, we don't have what an official translator would have. Like, we can't ask the author.
Of course. Yeah. Come on, Rob. Come on, Bobby. Help us out. Did you get any help from the Zame Collective beyond kind of Martin Luiga's blog post, etc.?
We did ask Martin Luiga about some things, about how certain names are pronounced, for example.
Yeah.
But there was a Teresh Maciek saga.
Yeah. Okay. I think he was at one point working on translation, maybe Disco Elysium, or was it the book? Was it in fact the book? I'm struggling to remember now.
It was the game.
It was the game.
Last I heard, I think there was a partial translation, maybe first draft translation of the book made by Robert Kurvitz and maybe Justin Keenan, but don't quote me on that. Like in the before times. But Martin Luiga was working the game into, like, he had some really fun lines for Kuno, apparently, which would have been fun to see.
Yeah, I heard he had some good lines. That was, I can't remember where I'd heard that. It was Robert saying something somewhere, wasn't he?
So we're a bit shy about asking for help, but we should maybe and will maybe. So stay tuned for the next updates.
Well, I could certainly ask Martin if he'd be willing to do more contributions. The rest of them, well, Argo maybe, but I know a lot of them are busy now, right? Doing other stuff, so who knows? Okay, just curious if this gave you any kind of desire to do a translation project of another kind, or was it really I mean, you kind of alluded to the answer to this question already. The passion behind your love for Disco Elysium and Sacred and Terrible Air is a unique one. So I wonder, do you think there's something else that you'd be willing to do this for?
Maybe if there were more Elysian books to come.
Yeah.
Like Sacred and Terrible Air, the prologue.
Yeah.
There's one book that Martin mentioned in an Estonian podcast, which also sort of goes into the same like region as Disco Elysium. It's not fantastical, but it like shows a middle-aged guy who is not in the best state. So this could be something that could be of interest. I also, because Martin mentioned it, I read it last year, I think, and I think I've also suggested it, but it takes a lot of time to translate something, and I have a lot of respect for people who do that.
And while we are a Sacred and Terrible Air translation group, so that's what we are there for. But we are also curious about Elysium and Elysium byproducts, so to speak. And through the new wiki server, we are maybe kind of working on getting scans of a copy. The nihilist.fm blog they used to have.
Yep.
The collective used to have back then. And there was a book that collected major articles, and some interesting stuff might be there. And Argotulik has a copy and may send us scans of that. So, but yeah, I mean, even that would be mostly like a rough translation to, like, not speaking for the person who would actually have to do the work, but not the level of polish that we're to give to the book.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. So it is well and truly a passion project, and there's passion oozing all the way through it. And I think I should thank you on behalf of everybody, because lots of people have read this as a result of the work you've done. So huge contribution to the community. Can't go unnoticed. Okay, I had a question about. So we're going to get into the book now. I had a question around the writing, and having read it. So I wrote these questions. I don't know. God, how long have we been planning this podcast? A long time. I wrote these questions a long time ago. I don't like whoever this version was of me was in a bad mood, I think, because I used the word badly to describe the writing. I don't think that's fair. But I will ask it a different way. My experience of Sacred and Terrible Air is, and I mean just as a reader and my assessment of the writing, I read it and I was kind of like, there's a couple of things. If I didn't know Disco Elysium, I wouldn't know what was going on, honestly. I think it probably would have taken me a few more reads. I've watched so many videos and read so many analyses since reading the book to make sure I had a full handle on it. So, not to say it's definitely not badly written. That's a deeply unfair thing to say. But I think it's obvious to me that Robert is a dungeon master who is used to telling stories in that kind of way. And there is also a fair amount of assumption without much explanation about the world that you are kind of wandering through. And I get the sense that maybe there was perhaps a feeling from Robert that I'm going to put this book together. My friends will get it. They'll understand it. Like, I'm basing my characters on most of them. So blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I just wonder, I'm sure it's a criticism maybe that you've heard countless times about the book. I've seen there are people online who kind of agree with me, and then people who will shoot that down. So just, maybe regale us with the tales of your first experiences with them, how they differ from mine, how wrong am I, do you want to punch me in the face, all of that stuff.
Yes.
You want to start? You can start.
Okay. The book really is confusing. And it's purposefully confusing. That's what Martin Ruger wrote in his preface to a short piece on innocences, if I remember it correctly. Saying that Robert didn't want to make the world readily understandable, because the world we live in isn't readily understandable. We have to make effort. We have to struggle to understand it. And that works with Vivian as well.
It's the correction article, which is a great read. And for a long time, it was the first introduction to Broader Elysium.
Thank you.
It introduces the cast of the Dister plot, which I really hope we'll get to say, because it sounds wild. Everything about that sounds wild. Yeah, and Martin Ruiga's introduction is really beautiful and one of my favorite pieces of writing about Elysium.
I think what we also found out at some point, that in some forum, Robert also said that this is like it has a 0. The book has a 0 on it, so it's the 0th part of a series, and it just puts you in the deep end. And yeah, you're not supposed to understand everything, but you're supposed to get an introduction to the world. So this is, I think, also something that maybe Robert developed out of with Disco Elysium, because there's this UX or the UI video that he made for exactly, and there he also talks about design, and I think he also maybe understood that maybe being that cryptic isn't as good as he thought.
Yeah, I think it shows. I can see the birth of something like encyclopedia happening, like the sometime between him thinking of Sacred and Terrible Air and finishing it, and maybe, you know, Disco Elysium just popping into his brain, because that basically does all of the work for you. Like, you needed encyclopedia on your shoulder reading the book, or I did at least, saying, you know, this information means this, and this is that part of the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, okay, so first off, this book has longer credits than basically all of the games I've played this year. So it's not just him. There's Mark Luiga, who is the source for Teresh. How do you pronounce that again? Well, anyway, that guy. Argotulik, source for Can, and so many editors. There's mass editing credits with like a dozen people. But I guess they were all already inside Elysium. Like, they all knew the world already, and it's 10 years before they all started to write Disco Elysium. So I think it does show that it's a less mature work, but it's still really impressive for me. Like, I kind of see, I think, some of my own mistakes as a writer, like in trying to get the reader up to speed with what's in my head, and how it expects the reader to pay total attention. And then it has lots of payoff, but you have to know it by heart from cover to cover, basically. Like, it's basically ergodic literature in the Espen Arset definition of a text that requires non-trivial effort to traverse. Because if you just read it once, like, on some level, it's playing fair. Like, it does introduce everything it needs to introduce, but it introduces so many important concepts, like 3 lines, 50 pages before, when it picks them back up again.
Right. Yeah.
So just a first-time reader won't get that. Like, an example that we didn't even pick up on until very recently is that at some point Ziggy is being beaten up by schoolmates, and he wishes he had a sword. He wishes he had a sword with him, and this sword is described in great detail. And you go, okay, but who cares? Like, okay, he wishes he had a weapon to defend himself with, but why are you telling me this? Because, like, maybe a while before that, it's been established that that specific description is Ignus Nilsson's sword. So it's like he wishes he had that power of the greatest communist leader he knows, and very obviously looks up to, and has a very complicated relationship with. So with that context, it's for me, it's a powerful connection, but you are not going to like notice that immediately. It takes like just maybe if you were running a search for sword, then you notice. But if you don't, that's hard to pick up on.
it's the same. It's a similar defense to what I say about the Wire TV show. If I could compare it to any other way, people who watch The Wire for the first time are like, yeah, it was okay. No, watch it 7 times and then you'll see what I'm. you know, I guess that's kind of the thing I can compare it to here. Maria, go on. Sorry.
I think being so confused. The reason for it is the rich meta, because the book and the game are only tiny parts of the huge world they made for the tabletop gaming. And when you have something that detailed, you start assuming everyone else knows what you know.
Yeah, it takes experience and good editors to figure out how to say something in a cool way, in an elegant way, but still in a way that's clear enough that the reader can understand and retain the information.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, but Disco Elysium had more writers who came in. I think, like, okay, the ones that were there from the beginning were 10 years older and had more experience, but the newer ones probably helped a lot with editing and like keeping the focus fair for newcomers.
Yep.
Yes, just asking what this is.
Yeah. Okay. No, very good. I was going to kind of just summarize the plot, but I honestly think if you've arrived at this podcast, you should probably know it by now, or you should have. But does anyone really? Who can summarize the plot in 15 seconds?
In short, drugs.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Look, go and read it. I think, and I will give you a spoiler warning because I'm going to ask specific questions about. We're not going to go through the whole book, but there are certain things in the book which I really like, which have interesting links to Elysium, things that fascinate me about where Kurvitz's head was at and stuff, and things that I just think are interesting questions generally, right? And since we can't get Kurvitz on, you are literally the next best thing in terms of experts on Sacred and Terrible Air. Okay. I don't know what order I put them in, but you're just going to have to roll with it here. This is quite funny. I'll just say it. What are your thoughts on Vidkun Herd and his presence in the book? So Vidkun Herd, for those the uninitiated, he's a pretty violent fascist. One that kind of has like this. I guess that I don't want to name a real world comparison because somebody will go nuts at me. But he's kind of admired, right? He's got fans. He's still someone who's seen as someone to care about. So, I mean, it's a very communist book written by a communist. I just wonder, what are your thoughts on what Vidkun Herd represents in terms of him as a character and perhaps what he represents about the author's view on said ideology? That's a big question, sorry. So
we're in the spoiler zone. So first of all, he's a red herring. He doesn't have anything to do with anything. He just makes himself seem like he's more than he is.
Mm-hmm.
But the follow-up question, like, what does it mean for the author? I would say he is also a tool to introduce parts of the world.
Yeah, and some history, because he's a history nerd. He's a history nerd, he's a language nerd.
Big things about for competitive racists in Elysium, like you get so much lore from Measurehead in the game, and you get something from Vidkun Herd in the book too. So who knows how much of it he's being a competitive racist about, and how. But yeah, he does a bit. I think that he shows a bit of what Martin Luiga in his introduction to Full Core State Nihilist called the edgelords and ladies of Zaum of yore.
Yes, I remember that.
So that, yeah.
By the way, guys, did anyone here have an impression that Kurvitz is an aspiring innocence?
Ooh. I don't know.
That's an interesting one.
He's writing a magnum opus, which he refers to as his gift to the humankind. He's trying to get everyone's attention by featuring in that documentary.
Mm-hmm. And so is he a little bit like who was the false?
He's a bit like Erno Pasternak.
Is that the one? Something. Yeah, the false innocence. Because
yes, I think so.
Aren't you supposed to be defined by society as an innocent rather than the other way around? Like you can't define yourself. Is that a rule? Like you can't just say you're an innocent. You have to be defined as an innocent by society. Is that?
Yes. Yeah. You have to gain a following, and he did gain a following, but it was a little bit too late for him.
Yeah.
Maybe if we ever get Sewell Milton's plot, we'll get more about that, the self-professed innocence of consumerism. And I really want to know about that guy. So, yeah, I think his more important, like, the thing Maria was saying is another example of how everyone and everything has like a world inside themselves. Like there's probably a plot there. They probably have this character developed much more than we see on the page, right? There's always stuff going on. And in the game, I think they got better at conveying that, but it was already there in the book. Like the nuance of characterization, especially in the main video plus one, but even secondary characters like him have got things going on with them. But yeah, I think his role in the story is maybe more of a stepping stone, both as a way for Therese to get his characterization, his big moment, his big flaws, and also a way to get to the next step in the plot. And also for me, as a part of like an alchemical process, almost of the plot's progression, because you have all these lurid themes and red herrings, and then Ambrosius, and then it kind of shifts tone a little bit. And then you reconcile the flashbacks with the present narration in 14, and then the word ends. Like, it's got such a beautiful structure working with parallels between present narration, flash, and yeah. So I think Wittgenherd, as part of the first half, is like rooted there in those themes which need to be explored before moving forward.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about competitive racists and their contributions to the law. It is a weird little theme he has going on there, actually, with Measurehead. Even racist lorry driver and Gary, they all kind of... I guess I answered my own question now that you've explained it back to me, is a really nice way of saying, well, every character is important. Especially in the context of somewhere like Elysium, because how else are you to communicate what Elysium's about? And I really like how you described that everybody has a world inside them, and that's a really beautiful way of describing any individual, whether it's in real life or in a book or in a story. And I do like that there is no wastage there. There is something to be tapped into if you want it. Okay, so that's why the fascist paedophiles in the book. Thank you. The
Spoilers.
okay. I mean, part of this is this drug Zaum as well, right? When you talked a little bit about, it's quite important to Therese's arc as well. Zaum is used at this point, right? He uses him to interrogate, and that's how he finds out that Vidkund is a red herring, right? So, forgive me if I get anything wrong here, because as I say, I'm not the expert, but Vidkund is claiming knowledge of the girl's disappearance, right? The Lund girl's disappearance. Therese decides to use Zaum to. So Zaum is basically a truth serum, kinda. Is that right? Or is
Mind meld.
Yeah, you meld with them, and then you can feel their thoughts or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, if you saw the Stell movie, that's a little bit
Yeah.
like the way Zen works.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's basically like a lie detector. So you can't really. That's also why apparently the police doesn't use it in the world, because you can't really use it as evidence.
Okay, because it's
but the police doesn't get the themes. It's like I think it's so central to what I think is a big theme of Elysium as a setting in general. Like, okay, for one, like this sense of overcoming the barriers between the self and the other, and so you get these examples of mind meld of sorts all over the place, like even just Harry getting his Shivers moments, his empathy moments, and whatever, and all the self-chiller connecting through the pale, Rodionov doing whatever it is that he does. And yeah, I think, and of course, the pale itself, like as the totality of history coming together, history facing itself, history folding over itself. I think Martin described this as at some point. So yeah, this the fact that in this case it's forced, it's a drug that that is used non-consensually, but it is a mind meld.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun that that they named this drug, this narrative device, like the collective, which already has like two meanings. There's the Wikipedia meaning of Zaum, like the Russian artistic movement, and the Martin Luiga first article on which says, so the Wikipedia meaning is Zaum was created in order to show that language and indeterminate. The author stated when creating Zaum, he decided to forego grammar and syntax. He wanted to convey the disorder of life by introducing disorder into the language. He considered Zaum to be the manifestation of a spontaneous non-codified language. He believed that the purpose of Zaum was to find the essential meaning of word in consonantal sounds. He believed such knowledge helped create universal language based on reason. And that's the historical artistic connection. And so for Martin Luiga, he says, observe the Z formed by the text. The Z symbolizes the movement of the eye while reading, as we traditionally do in this word. A, that would be love or anarchy, as love begins with an A in Estonian, and A and L are visually rather clear if we look at the Greek alphabet. U, this is simple, that's you, the world. We were and are trying to communicate something. And M is a hum of the blood. M provides hum. The Z movement itself provides the beat, heart, or otherwise. The slash is a redoubling of the second movement, from love to life. So that's,
Wow.
That's his conceptual.
The original zaum in Russian was a way to recreate the hypothetical universal language, which would use not more things, not words, but just the sounds of the language, just the sounds you can produce, the feel of the sounds, the feel and the flow of the speech to convey meaning.
Beautiful.
So it would be intuitively clear, and everyone would be able to understand it. So it actually correlates with that moment where Teresh says, "I don't care what you're thinking. I want your truth." Like that idea of direct communication, like conveying images directly without using your mind to interpret it.
I've just sat here and listened to both of you talk about the word "zame," and it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love all of that. I'm a big fan, in particular, of the Z representing your eye movement. I really like that. And secondly, I don't want to know what you're thinking. I want to know your truth. Is such a subtle difference in what you're asking someone, right? But it is absolutely something that we all kind of display all the time when we're communicating. So I just want to highlight, I don't think there are many worlds as rich and well thought out as Elysium. It astounds me how much thought went into just the tiniest little things with this group of people, and it is just it's amazing, really. It really is. So thank you for sharing those. Thank you. Is Therese a favourite, by the way? Does everybody loves Therese, don't they? Who's the favourite character? I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Who's your favourite character in the book? I've always thought Therese was the most popular, but is it Ziggy? Ziggy's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. So I ran a poll on Tumblr. But it was like 2 years ago, so I don't remember the result. Among the trio, Can won, handily even, like 50% Can, then Therese, and then Jasper was kind of there. Someone misclicked or something. But yeah, I don't remember when Ziggy is in the poll how much that changes results. Yeah, I think he and Can are kind of even than Therese than Jasper.
Okay.
But the Russian Zion has, which is listing, really cool.
Yeah.
Has a lot of love for all the trio and all the character, and it's really, really cool.
You've got more goodies to show me than Argo Tulik had, Eva. You've got all kinds hidden on that shelf, haven't you? To be fair, he had just moved, so I'll let him off. I'm sure next time you have like the map of Elysium up and all sorts. But
I have an autographed road cone, but that's not not only an elite thing. So.
No, but you wanted to show it off anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, right. I mean, seeing as you touched on the Pale, can we talk about the Pale? So I put together a Pale theory, which is probably wrong if you're a fan of the book, right? Because my theory is based entirely on kind of game knowledge and a little bit of Argo Tulik. And then I came to the book, and people were telling me, obviously, how wrong I was to come up with such a theory without reading the book. But I realised that there are some differences in how the Pale is perceived in the book versus maybe what me and other fans of the game might understand it to be. Go on, each of you, give me your book version. In fact, let me be more specific. If you are someone who lives in the world of Elysium, what is the Pale to you?
Well, it's probably like living next to a volcano or something.
Yes, yeah, an apocalyptic event on your doorstep, I suppose. But how do they?
People do live next to volcanoes. Like it's normal for them. It's always been there since recorded history and before. So
it'd be like
I think
asking, what is the sky to someone in Elysium? I suppose is the same question, right? It's not.
Yeah, I think it's so funny that apparently, as you got on the podcast, the climate change metaphor was not intended because it scans so well.
It does,
like
yeah.
it just convergent evolution because like even for us, like we live with climate change, and if someone were to lose their memory, climate change here and now, that would be really something. Basically, they think about it more than we do, maybe on a daily basis. And why isn't anyone doing anything about it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But
I was surprised to hear that it had absolutely no link to climate change at all. Yeah, I was surprised.
Just works. I think there's probably many ways in universe of thinking about the Pale, because even just in the game we see a bit of different viewpoints. Like we have not Pale Driver and Tiago for his part, but yeah, there's probably various schools of thought. I'm sure it generated the philosophical theories and everything. We just don't know about it because we have so little of what they had in mind for the setting.
I think if I was to offer my two penneth worth, if I was to imagine myself living in the world of Elysium, and to bring it back to real, I would compare it to that of a black hole. So black hole is now. I am not a physicist, but I like watch a lot of space programs, and I kind of know that roughly information pretty much disappears in a black hole, or there is part of a black hole where something called the information paradox exists, which I suppose could be compared to a pale superdeep. So I like to imagine that it's this kind of a bit like a black hole to us. We're fascinated by it. We know they're out there. We're not really sort of threatened by the presence of black holes in all of our galaxy, but we know that they could completely consume all that we know forever at any given time. But we just kind of, well, if it happens, it happens. I suppose the only difference in Elysium is you have a choice if you would like to go into that Pale. And so in certain parts of it, you can start to experience memories or past, present, future. And then eventually, as you go so far, the concept of backwards and forwards stops existing, right? So no matter which direction you go, you're as Pale Driver would put it, one step further away.
I would, for me, because maybe it might be just like the meaning that I'm ascribing it, because the game and the book found me in a time hello in a time where I was also not doing too well mentally. So if I would be to anthropomorphize Elysium as a person, it would be like, let's not say depression coming over, but let's say all of the humans in that world are thoughts, or they are somehow created. And if you have depression, then it is like a veil that is pulled over you, but then it can also go back, or it can also completely consume you, and then you can like have a rebirth. So this is also one of the questions that people have, like what happens if the Pale completely consumes Elysium? Like, is everything going to be reborn, or is that the end?
Yeah, I suppose like it's this thing with the Pale's presence from the reader's point of view as well, which plays into that question. I think the whole never-ending story thing, where Fantasia exists because the reader's in there, right? You are reading, when you read Sacred and Terrible Air, much like when you load into a game, I suppose, you are igniting the fire that brings that world to life as you read it, right?
I think in the book, like, okay, for one, I think it's the Pale as presented in the book is very of a piece with how it's presented in the game. It just, in the game, there's been like 10 years of further world building. And I don't know, in the book, it's maybe clearer, maybe a little bit simpler. I think the Joyce infodump wasn't quite there yet, but the bones of the concept are exactly the same. And by virtue of being maybe a little simpler, or maybe just stated in a simpler manner, I don't know, maybe already had the same ideas. I don't know, so many times it's happened that something looked like they changed their mind, or it was a mistake, and then it turned out that that's just a weird thing in religion. That's weird. So anyway, I think in the book it's clearer about being the past, about like you see much more clearly what pushes the Pale forward and what pushes it back, you know, and even some strange middle ground. So you have Ambrosius, who speaks of nostalgia, of wanting to live in the past, and so that's very straightforward. Like, I will get you all to live in the past. So, and what he does to go about it is start World War. So that's what creates, I think, like his announcement. I think it was is what creates the anomalous Pale onslaught that kickstarts the end of the world.
Yes, that was my question to follow up there. I had that sort of more towards the end. I just, for me and others who maybe don't understand, why does a nuclear bomb and wanting to start a world war, just explain to us how that enables the Pale to grow and consume the world more than it already is?
I think that all the talk of that monster wave, the monster waves bit is explaining what happened there. So you have these things that cause Pale, which I think are variously feelings of alienation, of wanting to live in the past, of like the impossibility of living in so many ways. And generally they would cause this much Pale, but I think Ambrosius did that on purpose and gave that announcement at a time when this production of Pale would spike. Mm-hmm. And so start the end of the world. And then the moment you have Katla going under, basically, everyone else goes, oh my God, what's happening? And the situation worldwide keeps worsening, and that certainly does help matter. and things keep worsening. But that may be not what's happening at all. Maybe there was some plot going on that was very well foreshadowed in the book, but we don't have the ways of understanding that that's what it, like, I don't know, why is it saying at the beginning that they have lost contact with Orange for the past few months? I don't know what's happening there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's a plot going on, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, go on, Maria.
Well, I think dropping the bombs wouldn't accelerate the Pale in itself. But Ambrosius just wanted to make more people want to go back to the past.
Yeah.
He just wanted to make the life unbearable. Yes, and if it looks a little bit like making effort to get the sunset, like something that's happening anyway. The reason probably could be Ambrosius being vain and old. He wanted to be remembered forever as the innocence who brought the end to the world. And so he had to hurry up. Like, he had to accelerate it.
Yeah. So the thing is, right, let me give Robert some huge credit here. This is almost like Simpsons level predicting of the future, right? Because I could make comparisons to Ambrosius St. Miro to certain political figures now, because it sounds like that it's fear-mongering and propaganda which Ambrosius St. Miro is trying to utilize, right? He's using the power of fear to drive the growth of Pale, right? People start to go, well, the world's gone to shit. Look, people are doing it now. People are doing it right now across the world, saying it was better 50, 60, 70 years ago because everything's shit. So I just find it, I mean, maybe this is just Robert as a lover of history himself, understanding the cycles of history and what brings about this type of thing, right? And probably why he seems to think that things like communism and anodic dance music are the things to rid yourself of the power, because in Robert's view, certainly communism is about hope and pressing forward in his, from his point of view. And anodic dance music, as someone who loves that music himself, is something that does allow you to forget and think about things positively and enjoy life and think about how prosperous the future could be. And if I could call it back to Arno van Eyck, that the tape, it was destined for the future. It was designed for a time that we had not yet arrived at, because, perhaps Arno van Eyck understood that this is the kind of music that's one day going to save everybody. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here now, by the way, and waffling on about this. But I do find that particular element very fascinating, and
I think the music part is also really just living in the moment, like existing, not lost inside our heads, but inside our bodies for a time. And I think that's that tracks with what the Phasmid says about humans and human thought and unprocessed human thought being causing the Pale.
Yeah.
And when you're dancing, that's not what's happening. That's all the opposite. Like, you're then and there existing in your body in a way that you really don't. Another thing about the Pale from the book is absolute negation. We are not letting this podcast go by without mentioning. Yeah, it's the heart of the Pale spells out absolute negation.
Okay.
And I have a long, I know expert. I just read up a bit for the Revachol LARP last year, but I have a very short description that a member of the official Discord server came up with the other week, and they say that if you're Hegel pilled, then you'll see absolute negation as ambiguous or positive, since absolute negation / sublation does not annihilate a thing, but rather it allows it to transcend to a higher form. So I'm not going to get into the details because I don't really understand them. I've been trying, but I don't have the basis to really speak about it. But it's fascinating, and even Martin gets that they fear the pale because they do not understand negation. So there's that.
Okay.
So
I think the book also characterizes absolute negation as the point of superposition, like the point where everything is possible.
Okay.
Probably it's the point where present, past, and the future are all compressed, like the way we have it in the book. We can open it at any page.
Okay.
And thus, that observer placed in the absolute negation point is the reader or the author, maybe. So they can just reach to any point in history.
Beautiful. It is beautiful.
cool.
Yeah, very cool. I like that. Yeah, let's stick with the subject of expelling the pale a little bit. Just because we touched on Nordic dance music. So there's Ulf, the self chiller, and Ignis Nielsen. They are only the two people in recorded history who have not been affected by the pale. Did I get anything wrong there? Is that right?
So I think they're the only two we see who managed to have an effect on the pale that repels it to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But Ulf makes a living of working with the pale, communing with the pale. Like his whole thing is that he's like a spirit medium, but his thing is that through anodic music, he somehow manages to vibe with history or something,
Okay.
and reach the information that the people are asking him to get. And only if the people he's looking for exist in the pale, so exist in history, which is not the case for the girls in the book. But yeah, there's this strange contradiction, almost like he's using this thing that we know implicitly that repels the pale, is his use of disco music, and it does repel pale in the book. Like for as long as he's playing his music, the pale stops right outside his house. So he is stopping that, but through that music, he is inside the pale. Like he's communing with history. Like we see through his eyes. The bells. The thing about the bells, like that's another one of that you don't get. And maybe at some point in the book, there are bells mentioned, the sound of bells. And in Ulf's chapter, it turns out that music has those bells. So when we hear bells, it's like Ulf is saying hello, like he's watching, he's communing with that particular scene. So he's there for Krasmazov's suicide. He's there for the revolutionary lovers and their end. And he's there for our protagonist. So yeah, that's. But it's a strange. Please.
He's also there for Peru's Metrosy.
Right.
In the 20th chapter?
Yeah, right.
What are we referring to there? Sorry.
The epilogue.
So in the epilogue, Metrosy goes on the boat trip.
Yeah.
Right? And he hears the pail.
Okay,
yeah,
this is
right.
And he has a vision of a discotheque.
Right. So yeah, it's not opposite. It's more deeply interwoven than that.
Got it. Okay.
And even Nielsen, like his big rhetoric moment that pushes back the pail, I think that's just him and his deeply held convictions, like he's speaking from the heart there, and that's what pushes back the pail. But functionally, he's part of the pail, right then and there, like he's a ghost.
So
please
go on.
Let me disagree on Nielsen. I don't think he's pushing the pail back, because being nostalgic about communism is still being nostalgic. And the description of him doing it correlates to what San Miro says. The pail gets filled with color.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like from inside the pail, from that point of no return where Ziggy doesn't want to go.
I don't.
It's all seen as colorful.
Oh, so you're saying like Ziggy?
Yes. The moment Inglis tries to make Ziggy want to go back in time and to see the real communism, him telling Ziggy how good it was, Ziggy starts seeing colors, which means he's pulled inside.
Like us. No, I think it's being more general there. Like he has moments where he's nostalgic about the way things were in his country. That guy hijacked it, but like it's such a beautiful message of trusting, of believing in your fellow human there. That
yes,
I think
the feeling of unity.
Yeah, like I think that's what the point of his speech is, and to me it tracks more with Ziggy's reaction, that like Ziggy is on a long suicide point, basically. Like he's going deep into the pail because he can't appear into the pail normally, and so he has to travel to the heart of it physically. And I personally read it as Nielsen trying to talk him back from there. Like he's taking him back from the pail, bringing him back to the for a moment. And Ziggy's like, nope, I can't do that. I'm gone. I'm good. Let me go.
Or maybe it's...
I mean, it's so cool that you're right that it does track with what Ambrosius is saying. And once again, I think the ambiguity, the overlapping reading, and part and parcel of how Elysium works, right?
Yes, and also it says something. Ziggy can come back, but not where he wants. Probably.
What's all that about?
Probably that refers to that moment where Ignis wants him to join him, and Ziggy can do it, and he would if he didn't have something more important to attend to. But Ziggy doesn't want there. He wants somewhere where the girls exist.
What the hell was he doing anyway? Because the girls have been waiting for him all along, because the cassette with the mixtape for his journey to the end of the world, but it takes him 20 years to begin the journey. So what was he doing with the Harnankor and something else, I guess, but we don't know. I think maybe that one Estonian reviewer, like we were saying earlier, that that if we hadn't played the game before, we wouldn't understand a word of it. But there was one person on the internet who read it in 2013 when it was, and absolutely loved it, and wrote this glowing review in Estonian, like he'd understood mysteries of the world. And maybe that guy knows. I don't know.
Yeah, let's track him down. So does that mean that it's not proven that communism can drive away the Pale? Or does it?
No, I think it is.
It definitely is.
I think it's like communism as like a sustainable organization of society that would, in an utopian realization, there, like sustain the conditions of life that do not generate Pale, kind of. Like it's not inherently communism.
Yes, the communists are said to try to weaponize Pale. That means they are studying it, they're actively studying it, they're trying to control it. They are basically the only ones, I think, who are trying to do something about the Pale.
Well, yeah, there's also the Mazov's plan, right? Like Mazov had plans to colonize. That tracks with both Zerter's comment in the game and a line in Nilsson's conversation. So in order to do that, you have, I think, to figure out how to live there, and so presumably they're the only ones who are trying. But like ideologically, I think it's, yeah, like you're trying to build a society where everyone can live fairly, or you make Pale, and so that would be the path, the European path.
There was some excitement around satellites over Elysium when I spoke to Argo, right? I didn't have a clue what he was talking about, but then Laughing Pineapple, you started telling me all about them, and I was like, shit, if only I was smart enough to have asked more about the satellites at the time, we could have got some more juice. So why don't you tell me and everybody else what is so important about these satellites above Elysium?
We don't really know what's important about them, but the thing is, they are there very prominently. But before Argo's description, we didn't know what those paragraphs meant, because we have like Kant's popular science dream, where, wait, ultimately, I think if you look at the satellite's presence in the text now with what we know from your interview, it's like this whole story is being like observed by the satellites. Mm-hmm. They feel like distant observers of this whole thing, and like to me the story already felt like it was ready. Like you have this disjointed structure with past and present and future all coming together, all tracing paths, tracing patterns with each other, connecting, disconnecting, like rebuilding themselves. And this felt like a novel taking place, like developing within the Pale already, like all these paths that you can trace across the narratives. And then you have the satellites. That's so cool. Wait, maybe. Okay, there it is. This is, I think, chapter 13, maybe. Yeah, no, that's earlier. Well, anyway, 7 or 8. It says, in Ken's popular science dream, a cosmic autumn orbits above him, and the vibration, as always, is getting cold. A faceless, bottomless epiphery, which is a new word Kurvitz made up, but it's really cool, sprawls behind the backs of the giants. Forgotten high in the sky, these ancient communication satellites calibrate their rusty bellies toward the curvature of the Earth. Catapult-like joints swing into position, boulders screech like a flock of storks at the edge of the stratosphere, communication units rattle into the ether. A cluster of compound-eyed measuring devices down toward the southern coast of the Katla Isola blows in brief bursts of this, and so on, and then it goes on to describe the beach, and it's really cool. But yeah, before knowing that there are 8,000 years old satellites orbiting Elysium, what do we make of that? Like, is Ken dreaming? Is what does popular science, like, are these satellites of some sci-fi movie? I don't know, but no, it's there.
Is it?
And then it comes up later too.
Am I right in saying that the satellites are older than what we know to be recorded history of Elysium? Yep. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that was the thing, wasn't it? It was kind of when you were speaking to me about it, it was squaring up. Well, hang on a minute. We only know of X amount of history, and apparently these have been here for.
Yep.
Yeah. So we don't know too much about them really, other than speculative stuff.
Yeah, they're like a point of view, an observer. I don't know.
The question is who put them there, right?
Right.
Did Elysium already get like a pale sweep, and now is it the next one? How many times has Elysium reborn?
What happened to that civilization?
Yeah.
Is that does, however, put into context why the Pericronatian civilization was already surrounded by pale. Like at some point, I did wonder, like barely out of the Bronze Age, and they already had so much pale that it surrounded them. Like what happened there? But yeah, if there was civilization that messed up in times, that would explain why there was so much already.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you could theorize that there was a civilization that had finally worked out the only way to escape something like the Pale and was to go into space and get away from it, right? And yeah, who knows?
They would presumably be taking Pale with them. Now that's a fun.
Yeah, actually, they would.
Mental image. if the universe works like that in Elysium, then you can. Well, anyway.
Yeah, that's right. A fictional world can't exist in a bubble inside a different fictional universe, right?
Yeah.
It just can't. The rules have to be the same if physics are to be translatable across that. Okay. It's interesting, though. I thought it was a fascinating little nugget around the book and the world. Okay, I know. So, Ambrosius Saint Miro is the last and final innocent. He's a nihilist. His worldview drives him to nuke the planet, and he wants, to destroy everything, etc., etc. So, can we finally put to bed the idea that a certain Harry Dubois is an innocent? This theory gets punted around all the time, that because he can communicate to Shivers and he has knowledge of stuff that he shouldn't kind of know and all of that stuff, that everyone's like, yeah, you've got to be an innocent man.
Everyone and their dogs do. I mean, it's not special.
Yeah, exactly.
Special, but not
exactly. Yeah, and plus he's an amnesiac who is slowly piecing together his memory, so of course he's going to start going, oh yeah, I do know that actually. But yeah, just, I mean, maybe you want to share a bit more detail to put to bed the Harry Dubois innocent. Is there any specific qualifying features that he doesn't have, for example?
We don't know that much about, but I mean, I think what qualifies as an innocence is that people have to recognize you as one. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a political office first and foremost.
Yeah.
At that point, I imagine there's a sort of extra physical feedback loop where the world population is convinced that you have superpowers, so you kind of get some level ups.
Yeah. Do innocences actually have any superpowers? I thought they were like maxed out influences.
Yeah, that's first and foremost. But I think they, like the lungs glowing thing, might be.
It's a kind of an urban myth,
but
isn't
that's,
it?
Part of the PR, maybe.
I think that's literal, but well, Ignis Nielsen does that too anyway, and she's weird, like probably being immortal. But that's just her.
But that was proved wrong.
Okay. Yeah, but no,
she wasn't immortal.
Wasn't she? So why was she there in Pericarnassian times as per the Final Dream?
That's what we know about her from the history. And the history is well, half PR.
Everyone knows that. I mean, he might be almost, but there's this bit about her.
They could they could write whatever about her because she's an innocent. So everything about her is supposed to be true. That's what innocence is about. And
well, anyway, let's stay another time. No, I think you're absolutely. I would about the super influencer thing. For me, there's one line in the game that strongly informs my view of it, which is the title of a book which Esteban and Ulixes, which is The Innocence of Capital. So if you think about capital and why it has the power that it has, because we consider it a thing, so it becomes a thing, basically, right? And in that book, it's compared to innocences. So in turn, I am applying to innocences my understanding of, right? So it's this like we're conferring them a power through our belief that they can history in this case, right? And so they do. Like,
Yes.
you appoint someone super pope or a super king of the world, and that's what they do, kind of.
Yes, and also what innocences do have, but Harry does not. They have agenda. They have a program, a certain program they want to follow, and they have the desire to move it forward.
Yeah, and also he just isn't. I mean,
he just isn't. I love that.
That's the thing. Like, even if someone tried to go, okay, but he calls himself Ambrosius, so he might be the same guy. No, he can't, because Ambrosius St. Miro is like 10 years older than Harry is, and likely because he was a kid before the revolution and had a math tutor. So that's not Harry Dubois.
Yeah, of course.
Probably even more than 10 years older.
Yeah, he would be.
He
actually.
is 70 something.
So
by the events of the
yeah.
game.
Isn't the events of the apocalypse in Sacred and Terrible Air 72? That's present day in the book, right? 72, is that right?
No, it's 78.
78.
I mean, the end of the sorry.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, what year is it in the second part? I can't remember. Is it 71 or is it later?
The book is 72.
Okay.
And the end of the world takes 6 years.
Got you.
So we go forward until 78.
So Harry would have to be like nearly 70 by that point. So yeah, I mean, I'm just doing basic maths here, but yeah, he couldn't possibly be him, despite his flirting with the name. Okay. So I'm just conscious we've got about 15 minutes till the 2-hour mark. I think I've asked most of my questions that I had about the Pale and Sacred and Terrible Air. Are there any particular elements of the book and the things that you've done with the translation that you wanted to share or talk about before I do you like a Disco Elysium pop quiz?
The footnotes.
The footnotes.
Yeah, I think I'm especially proud of them because, first of all, I guess I'm bringing a bit of my youth to people, or like what I grew up with, the language that I grew up with, but also that there's so many people finding like little details, and they're like, oh, this is like a song lyric, and I'm like, just mind blown.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Trent Moller is obviously a reference to a dance music artist from, I think, Sweden or Norway. Yeah, did you not know that? I realised today, I was like, I saw Trent Moller reference. I was like, oh yeah, I know them. They make music. I'll share something with the group chat that we've got later. Yeah, Trent Moller. They did like remixes of Roy Scott tunes and all sorts. So knowing how much Robert loves music, I'm certain that is a deliberate reference. Yeah, same.
That's got a bit, but we didn't know that.
Yes, I contributed something to. Please, right? I want to see a footnote in the next release where it says the 41st precinct said Trent Moller is. No,
we don't put any names. It's a community effort. So.
Well, you fail to realise the level of ego I carry after I have been running a YouTube channel for a year. I'll insist on it now. No, good shout. I do like the footnotes. They are actually really handy because I find myself when I was reading it I would go to. I was like, oh, okay, great, and it just adds like that nice little flavour. So you should be proud of it. It's a nice touch. I love it. Okay,
Did you listen to the music?
which music?
The music mentioned there.
Trent Moller.
No. Like the
Oh,
song,
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
or-
Right. When there's a footnote. Sometimes I did. Sometimes I didn't. To be honest, yeah. I was like, I was very confused by the question. Then, my bad. Okay. So I always ask my guests some Disco Elysium questions. Okay. But there are 3 of you, and I want you to somehow agree on the answer. We're going to take the democratic route. If you are outnumbered 2-1, then I'm afraid it's tough. It's just you're going to have to live life as the loser of the argument, I'm afraid. So be prepared for that eventuality. First and foremost, Group Ibex, folks, who is your favourite character in the game? Go on. All say your. Well, let's go one by one. Eva, who's your favourite?
Well, my favorite is Steban, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to pick a character from the Harry himself.
I like Harry as an answer. Okay, so Steban with maybe a Harry. Cat?
I don't want anyone to analyze that, but Kim.
No one will analyse that. It's the most vanilla answer ever. It's fine. You can have that one. Maria?
Well, and mine would be Ida Doom Sparrow.
Right. You're not supposed to have 3.
But I would go with Steban as well.
You're not supposed to have 3 wildly different answers. I was hoping as a collective that you'd be like all on the same page and all like straight away go Steban to get like together in unison. Okay, so there are 2 votes for Steban. Are you happy to go with Steban? Kat, are you going to start a mutiny on the back of this answer, or
No.
are you okay with Steban? Okay.
No, I'm good. I think I like both of the communist boys.
Yeah,
I think
same. Worth mentioning as well, by the way, Dobrava is from the book, right? Am I correct there? So when you get the password, remember Dobrava, and I can't remember the exact, but that's the password to see the communist, which is a nice nod between book and game. Just wanted to point that out.
There's so much that like goes ping pong between book and game, like for himself.
Yeah.
He gets so much in the communist quest, and then the other half. So much of it makes sense. Like Harry at some point goes, all that informative stuff sounds like drugs, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite portrait in the game?
Sona, maybe?
Machine Head.
Who? Measurehead.
Measurehead, sorry.
You said Machine Head, the band, didn't you? You were thinking of music.
Yeah. It's warm. I'm in a rooftop apartment and I'm cooking myself.
Yeah, I've got a massive fan blowing next to me because it's that hot in the UK at the moment. It's ridiculous. I love the Measurehead one actually because you've got like Measurehead's Babe. Oh no, it's the other way around. Measurehead's Babe has Measurehead in the background, right? Like peering over the shoulder. Maria?
Mine would be Coalition Warship, I think.
Ah, see?
I really like the portrait because it's not really a portrait. It really stands out compared to other portraits because of how aesthetic and symmetric it is. It is a bit like some kind of religious imagery.
Yeah, it's the only one that's not a face, right? Apart, I know, mysterious pair of eyes wouldn't be a face.
Oh, you can see
There is a part of face in some kind of a halo, which is her microphone.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Very cool.
And it's very symmetrical, unlike other portraits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've already given up on the idea of forcing you to collectively give an answer. It's just easier to ask you all individually, to be honest. It was a nice idea, but I've given up on it already. This is what I do, basically. I have ideas, and they might grow and be good, or I just give up on them after the first attempt. It's just, chuck a million things at the wall and see what sticks. Who is the least evil, Everard or Joyce?
Everett.
Everard.
You mean you're not fooled by the pearly white teeth and firm handshake? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, them sending a death squad kind of ruins the mystique there.
Yeah. And the thing is, the thing about Joyce is that she, the whole time, is deceptive this is the thing I love about the difference between Joyce and Everard is Joyce is presenting herself as the helpful, honest person you can trust, whereas Everard tells you exactly how he's going to fuck you over and smiles warmly, but what my phrase it was, smiles warmly about it, right? And you see a lot of people come away kind of going, no, I don't see what the problem is with Joyce, right? But actually she's pretty nasty stuff, and she's like the head of this company and all of that good stuff.
Well, I guess to some degree, both of their reveals come and then may not see them. Like with Joyce, if she really only were a creator who reported to the Wild Pines board, then she would be talking differently about her, but she is the board.
Yeah.
So that's something you only learn if you go through her questline to the end and Everett. There are a few passives near the end of his questline, of their shared quest, same one really, where Harry picks up on the fact that he's serious about that. Is like he means it.
Yeah.
So his motives, that etc. and his stuff for his neighborhood, that's something many people may not, and that doesn't make him not have murdered his predecessor, but yeah, it's pretty fundamentally thing.
Yeah.
What I think is Everard is very aware of all the wrong things he's doing. He knows they're wrong, and he even tries to justify doing them.
Mm-hmm.
While Joyce doesn't even feel the need to.
Yeah.
She's just doing what she's doing.
Yeah, I think there's a moment where you talk to her about I can't remember exactly what it is, but she talks about how important it is for a company like Wild Pines to exist because of the amount of jobs that they provide, which is the classic argument you always get from corporations when, certainly in this country, when we start talking about corporation tax going up, it's like, oh, well, if you start taxing us, think of all the jobs that you'll lose. It's like this continuous threat that they have against society where they go, well, you won't have work if you don't support our capitalist movements and all the rest of it, right? So, yeah, she feels like everything that she does as a representative of that company is doing you a favour, rather than anything harmful. Yeah, it's definitely Joyce. She's horrible. But it's a good question. It's so good that it made Reddit go on fire for a good couple of weeks. I don't know if anyone remembers that. So maybe I just spend too much time online to see this stuff. Do we have a favorite quest or subplot in the game?
Phasmid.
Wow, yeah, it is the quest. Yes, yeah. No,
like
no different opinion than the Phasmid.
Third quest or Phasmid, like really.
Normally, people say working class women, so I'm glad we've got Phasmid here. Yeah, people love working class women, right? Because it's the one that makes them feel the most like a cop. It's the most gut wrenching. It's lots of like for every experience you have of being a police officer in computer games, generally, it's the only one I can think of where you've got to do that knock on the door to tell someone the worst news possible. I think it's fantastic. But to your point on the Phasmid, in fact, I said earlier, Eva, I saw on Jamrock Hobo's video, someone reacting to the Phasmid for the first time, and I actually had like tears to wipe away from their reaction because it's so. I remember that feeling, right, and I will never forget it. And the I See It Too from Kim Kitsuragi, followed by the I Exist from the Phasmid, are just two. Like a left hook, right hook to my emotional stability, and there's even like a bonus to the check. Never gave up on the Phasmid. I just, oh god, I could well up now thinking about it. You're absolutely right. There is nothing quite like a miracle in a world like Elysium. So yeah, I'll agree with that. What's your favourite political vision quest? And then there's one more question, and then we're pretty much wrapped up.
Mine is the moralist quest.
I kind of knew what your answer would be, Eva, already. So you're disqualified. But I heard an unusual one, which was the moralist. So go on. You've already declared your love for Coalition Warship Archer, and now you're telling us the moralist quest is the best. Are you have we got a centrist amongst us here, Maria? Is that what you're?
Well, my political vision is that of the limbic system, that people are just civil apes.
Yeah.
And that can be done as stopping your apes from fighting each other. What I liked about the quest was a broader outlook at the Pale and what it can do. Because there is, I don't know if we should put up a spoiler for that.
Don't worry about it. If you've come to my channel worried about spoilers, that's your fault. Yeah.
Right. Well, there is a moment where Kim Kitsuragi hears himself saying certain things from the future.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. Yes.
Through the Pale crosstalk, he hears that. And also, Yelena of the warship tells some really interesting things about moral intern and them planning the future.
With the funniest bit of information, like they have contingencies for 3,000 years. Like, congrats, guys, failed step 1, you couldn't even manage the decade. Like, contingencies for millennia and worlds ending in 28.
Yeah.
Go, guys. People in charge.
Yeah, they.
Probably it isn't ending.
Yeah.
Maybe they try and do something because, well, we have those papers there. Was the Cholzan and Wayne? Is it all going to the waste now? All the work we did.
Didn't they? They indiscriminately bombed Revachol, right? because they just wanted the war to end. There was no kind of rhyme or reason. Was that Operation Deathblow? I can't remember if that's...
Deathblow is
that the contingency?
the squashing of the
Deathblow.
revolution.
Yeah, is that the cannons that are just ready to go if something happens again? I can't remember. There's all kinds of weird stuff with the aerostatics, right?
The weapon
There's
on
a
the
difference.
archer. That's egret. The cannons on the archer.
Okay.
And the bombs were dropped by Stenmero's fleet that had to go there, that arrived to Revachol to bomb it.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, and Kat, any different answers to that?
I'm going to say communist, but only because I have not played the other quest lines. I've only read about them, so I will owe you an answer, but I will say communist until then.
Well, luckily, there's this guy on YouTube that's got all 4 political vision quests in there full. Some idiot with no hair. You'd have to seek him out. Well, I think my favourite's probably the fascist quest, and everybody's going to laugh at me. No. I used to say it was ultra-liberal, but...
It's good.
Yeah, it's very good.
I was...
Yeah, it's just got so many funny things in it, and I think it's got lots of surprises as well, particularly Measurehead delivering what is possibly the best speech in the whole game. Like his monologue about, not holding on to the past and stuff is like, you're like, what the fuck? The meme, the worst guy on earth just made a great point is obviously what everyone refers to when...
Measurehead is very complex in that respect, because, well, when I did the Fascist quest, I felt really bad for him.
Yeah.
Because he's a really smart person, he's a really strong person, but all of that is put to such wrong use.
Yeah, agreed. And he's reflective of a similar character as well, right, in the real world.
In the Fascist quest, there's also that choice about pushing a button,
pulling the lever,
destroy Revachol, and like walk into the sunset forever with Dora and Kim.
Yeah, you can ask, can't you? Is Kim there?
Yeah, of course. And that's like the simplest explanation of Semiro's eventual action. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
Destroy Revachol to go live in the past. And Kim is there also, I guess. So yeah, it's, I think, in their own ways, the vision quests were kind of beginning to connect more directly with other vision. So you have the communist quest with obviously kind of major in the book, and you have the list with all the weird politicking and strange science and computation, which I guess would be a main part of Dister and other plots, and the Fascist quest, which is just like, okay, we are explaining the point of the nuke. Here it is.
Yeah, great stuff.
And
go on.
The cocaine skull, which was, I think, meant to be the ultraliberal before it got scrapped, something less resource intensive, would have led us to that strange glowing key, which we can see which has strange, which hints at ultraliberals playing as or the other way around. They're not like there's something weird going on, which may have been a connection to broader plot.
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty good and do a lot to serve the world building. To be fair, so it's good to see what people's favourites are. Well, thank you so much for answering those questions. Thank you for coming on. I'm so glad we did it eventually. For people won't be aware, and I can say it now that it's done. I didn't want to say it at the beginning of the podcast in case lightning struck my building and stopped it. But what people won't know about this podcast is I think I initially spoke to Eva, Laughing Pineapple, last year sometime about doing an episode, and then it evolved into like about 3 different things that we were going to do, and then eventually it was like, let's do Sacred and Terrible Air, and then eventually we had roadblock after roadblock, and 18 months or something after the fact we've done it. So thank you so much for being patient with me. I hope everyone's enjoyed the chat. That's you three, I mean by everyone. I hope the audience has enjoyed it. It's certainly been good for me to talk about Sacred and Terrible Air to people who know it better than me, especially after I've had a little dip of my toe in there. So yeah, thank you very much for doing this. I hope we won't be strangers in the future. Thank you very much, and that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chat.
All right, until the next
Bye.
episode then, folks. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon. All right, bye-bye.